Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDO44 coming at you with another video. Unfortunately, I'm sure all of you have heard the news because this is not the quickest video I've ever uploaded. But we did lose Earl DMX Simmons today at the age of 50. And this is just one of those situations where, you just think about how tough addiction is for everybody who suffers from it. And it's different levels of it, and it's different journeys battling it. And I just understand that DMX has fought as hard as he possibly could in fighting his demons, but that addiction got a hold of him, and it got a hold of him early. There's footage floating around of him. I think he was on Drink Champs, and he was discussing his introduction to crack cocaine, and it was given to him as a young teenager by somebody that he believed was his friend. And it just goes to show you that not every case of addiction is just some dude or some chick over indulging on some drug and just being some junkie. The idea of what a junkie is and all of that, it was a picture that was painted for a lot of us during the era of the crack era and throughout the years. But fortunately enough, in my generation, they've raised awareness as well to balance that off for how difficult it is to fight addiction, to stop vilifying people who suffer from addiction, to stop necessarily looking at them as if they've done something to put themselves in a situation that maybe could have been prevented if they just simply use a little restraint. That part of their brain that requires them to have restraint is the part of their brain that just doesn't work properly in these situations. Instead, the part of their brain that tells them this is something that they need, that part is on flare mode. It's flaring off, and addiction is tough. I have an addictive personality. Personally, I've struggled with addiction in different fields of different things. But at the end of the day, I can tell you that I hold myself accountable, and as much as you try to hold yourself accountable, if you don't get to, first of all, cleansing out your system of the toxins that you put in it, first of all, because you can have all the willpower in the world, but if your body is having withdrawals and your mind is telling you that you can't live without something, believe you me, it doesn't matter how much restraint you have, you're going to go find a way to get to it. And the more addictive the drug is, the harder you're going to fight to get it. Okay, so that's the first thing that we all need to be absolutely and utterly aware of when we're considering addiction, is that it is not something that is a behavioral issue. And I think a lot of people who don't suffer from addiction, who don't suffer from mental illness and things of that nature, sometimes they can't seem to fathom how a person can find themselves in these circumstances. Just thank God that your head works in a way that doesn't have you battling yourself all day long. But some of us actually do, and we need a lot of help with whatever it is that we're dealing with. And I look at DMX as no exception, unfortunately, to that rule. And the fact that he had money throughout his prime, he always was in a position of means that made it worse. It enabled him to feed his addiction, and it enabled him to have an unlimited addiction. As for most people in the music business and in entertainment, if you're in a position of prestige or in a position of success, those drugs are going to be very easy for you to get, and they're going to be everywhere. And sometimes when you're not even looking for them, they're going to be available to you. And that's why Hollywood is such a beast, because it does allow for people who have sicknesses to indulge in feeding those sicknesses instead of getting help. And it is an unspoken understanding that no one's going to do anything about it, because everybody's just looking to make a buck off of the talent, and whatever keeps the talent up to do the impossible, which is to constantly keep up with the schedule, and keeps them feeling confident and not having anxiety when they go out there, so that they can make money for whomever has invested in them. Then they're gonna give them whatever it takes. You know what I mean? They're gonna give them drugs, and give them women. They're gonna give them everything they want. But as long as they're able to mentally get up and perform, that's all anyone cares about, it seems. So as a result, a guy like DMX, who was already suffering before he even got there, now when he gets to the business, obviously it's everywhere. His vices are not something he has to search for. They come to him. And that's the problem with sports and every other aspect of entertainment. It's just too much availability for your vices and for things that are ultimately going to try to take you out of here. And so this is yet another tale of that. I'm not vilifying the victim, DMX in this case. I'm vilifying the system in place that would enable him to be that way. The norms that we adapt to that makes it so that we're desensitized to seeing people destroy themselves so long as we're entertained by it. You know, that's something that we've been dealing with and have. It's a culture in our society and has been for as long as we've been worshiping celebrities. And then we just allow them to destroy themselves for our entertainment instead of seeking opportunities to support them getting help and using our influence as their fans to encourage them to take a look at how to keep their lives going and how not to destroy themselves. So, you know, everybody cares after the fact, right? Everybody's on their rest in peace DMX now, but, you know, unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of people giving him a whole lot of support and sympathy when he needed it, when he was down. So that's just tough, man. It's a tough situation. My heart goes out to his children, you know, anybody that loved him, his family, all of his homies and his guys, everybody that he was making money with and you know, friendly with. But you know, to speak of DMX, you got to speak of his faith. You know what I mean? If you're going to speak about Earl Simmons, you got to first speak about his willingness to confess his faith in the presence of all of us, and to bring forth not only his dark side, the side of him that would say the most unthinkable things in a rhyme, but on that same album, he'll come back and pray to the Holy Spirit and to the Lord for guidance out of his darkness and guidance out of the worst things, and even more so, praying for other people, making sure that we felt the beauty of his words as well. That's what DMX, ultimately, his legacy is for me. You know, I'm not thinking about some of the most harsh lyrics or thinking about the rawness of his unfortunate lifestyle as it pertains to reaching the top and finally getting there and all the stuff that happened to him on the way up. That's not the side of DMX that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the guy who, no matter how many times he fell, he always made sure that he confessed to the Lord, that he believed in him, and that he was hopeful that this would be a better world somehow. And you know, if you're gonna think about DMX, make sure you mention that. So yeah, man, there's so many memories listening to his music. He was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, rap artists of an entire era. And there was plenty of substance. It was plenty of darkness. It was plenty of truth. You know, that's the thing about DMX. We think about a lot of people who write rhymes and they don't live those rhymes, and we think about guys who, even worse, write rhymes and then proceed to try to live that lifestyle to keep some authenticity, end up destroying themselves and others just to keep up with the lifestyle. DMX wasn't doing that. He was telling you, look, these are my demons, this is my faith, this is where I've been, this is where I hope to be. And that's what he gave us each and every time. You know what I mean? This is what it was. It was ugly out here. This is what it made me. I'm ugly in here, but I still believe in God upstairs. That's Earl Simmons' legacy for me. You know, he made amazing films, substance films at that. Think about, what's the name of that movie? Never Die Alone. That was one of my favorite movies of that time. I think about Belly. That was another one of my favorite movies of that era. The movie that he made with Aaliyah and Jet Li. That movie was amazing. Growing up watching those films, I always appreciated DMX as an actor as well as an MC. I enjoyed most of the movies that he was in, you know. So that's also something I'll be considering when considering DMX. And of course, my bald head. I ended up, you know, being raised in a time where all the dope cats wore bald heads. So that's why I wear my bald head today. It was never something that I had to embrace as my hairline started to recede, because the Michael Jordans, the Tupacs, and DMX, those were the people that I was watching saying, yo, I want to wear my hair like that. DMX had a big influence on me in a time when I was coming into my own. So, yeah, man, this is not the easiest day in the world. I expressed to a friend that I feel desensitized in a way because this is somebody that I grew up watching and paying attention to closely, but I don't feel like I thought I would feel on a day like this. And it's just because personally I've been through so much. But I encourage everybody to not allow yourselves to feel desensitized. It's okay to feel however you feel. It's okay to cry if you have to. It's okay to scream it out and do whatever you need to do to heal from whatever it is that you're feeling during this particular time, or whatever you're going through particularly, you know, in whatever moment you're watching this video. So I just want to send prayers out to anybody dealing with any type of loss whatsoever, and especially to the family of DMX. God bless everybody. My name is BDF44, and I'm out.